Hello guys, and welcome back to another episode on Kerbal Space Program. And as you can see here, we have our Apollo 1337 on the launch pad, ready to go to the moon, as this is the second video in the easy step-by-step tutorial mission to the moon thingamajig. And we have Bill, Jebediah, and Bob all ready to go on the launch pad. So you'll want to press T on your keyboard and press and hold Shift to turn up the throttle. And then when you're ready, you can press the spacebar to launch. And I'm going to get a bit closer to my mic because the engines are very loud. And I've designed this as an asparagus kind of design. So the outer layers of the ship are going to fall off as they run out of fuel. And I'm just going to press Control a bit just to bring down the throttle, because as you can see here, the main engine is overheating quite a bit. Actually, I'm going to turn it down a bit more because otherwise it's going to explode. And if it overheats to maximum, then your engine will explode and your ship will hurtle towards the ground. So as you can see here, the outer layers are running out of fuel first. And here we go. And there goes the first stage. So as you can see, oh look, there's the moon. Oh yeah, and if you want to press M while you're in flight, and you can just bring up this nav ball at the bottom here, just help it. Here's the moon. So if you just click on the moon, set as target, that just makes it a bit easier to navigate. Don't worry about these lines. I'll explain that at a later date. Probably this episode, probably. Okay. Right. So as this so as we go up through the atmosphere, this little dial here will go up and up and up and up towards the left. And when the dial crosses into the kind of medium blue shading, that will mean we're in the mid-dense part of the atmosphere, and then that will be when we start our gravity turn, which means we tilt slightly over that way. And that will kind of start to create our orbit, because an orbit is actually us falling towards the Earth, but we're actually going to the side at the same speed we're falling towards the Earth, or in this case, Kerbin. So let's just separate this stage and then slowly tilt over to about, I'd say, around this marker here. Some people do it a lot slower and gradually, but purely for simplicity of this video, I'm gonna just do two movements there and then there in a minute. And as you can see, this pink dot that has just appeared on our nav ball, that is the moon. So if I was to point our nav ball straight at this pink dot here, that would be us pointing it straight at the moon, because we set the moon as our target in the map view. And I love the mountains that they've added over here, because they weren't here before, I don't think, and they are. Oh, well, they were there, but they've changed them. Yeah. So if you go into map view, which you get to by pressing M, you can see here our apoapsis, which is the highest point of our orbit. It's not really an orbit yet, but yeah. When it reaches around 100,000 meters, I'm going to cut the engines using the X key, and then level off, and then wait till we get to there, and then make it completely circular a little bit. And I'll show you how we do that when we get there. I'm just going to increase the throttle slightly more. And I'm going to tilt over slightly more as well, because as we go up, we want to tilt over and pick up more horizontal velocity. And if I say velocity, oh god, never mind. Okay, well, if I say velocity, it's because I'm just all about space. Right. So as you can see here, we are now at 100,000 meters on our apoapsis, and we'll arrive there in just under 2 minutes. So we've got enough time to click F5, which allows us to quick save. And yeah, right. So as you can see, we've still got quite a lot of fuel left, which is pretty good. And when we reach here, let's just time warp using the comma key. Using the like full stop and comma keys, we can walk around to here. And when it gets about 20 seconds, you want to line up with the nav ball over the yellow kind of circle thing. Now, if it's slow to turning, you can just turn your engines on slightly, and it will give it a little bit of boost. Because as you can see, the engines are moving there, which is called thrust vectoring. Thrust vectoring. Thrust vectoring. Oh dear. Okay, let's just stay there in the middle of the yellow bit. Okay, and then increase your thrust, and then we will go forward slightly. As you can see, that has gone slightly behind us, and just to fix that, I'm just going to move that slightly into the blue, and then it will come back, and hopefully over. Okay, I've got to keep an eye on this orbit. Right, so you will just want to generally just keep going in a straight line, and as you can see there, the fuel cut out, so I'm just going to do that, and right, well that will happen to you probably if you're not paying attention as I wasn't. So if you quick saved earlier like I did, you can just press and hold F9, and then it will zoom you all the way back to where you quick saved, just as we were going into orbit here. Okay guys, I am back, and as you can see, that was a nice decoupling. And remember to keep an eye on the overheating problems, because that was a problem for me a minute ago. And as you can see there, I just clicked X to kick off the throttle just then. But I am now in orbit at, almost in orbit. That side is 101, that side is 57. So when we get around to here, we'll just burn a bit more, which just means basically thrust burn. And just to get it around 100,000 meters, because a circle orbit is a happy orbit. Right. Right. So yeah, we are in orbit now, but it's not a completely stable orbit. So let's just time warp round. We still have a lot of fuel left in this tank here, and we might use this to assist us in getting to the moon. So I'm just going to time warp round and burn until that is at about 100,000. Okay, that's good. That's nice and circular. Right, now let's just set the moon as a target again, because it's not a target for some reason. Right. So the next bit of our mission to the moon is to actually get to the moon. So what we will need to do is click on our blue line here around Kerbin, and it will come up with this thing which says add maneuver. So we add our maneuver, and you want to have it on kind of just to the left of the ship. And then if you look onto the right of this kind of circle thing, this is called the maneuver node. And if you press and hold this, it will turn yellow, and then drag it slightly to the right, and things will start to happen. And then this orange line, as you can see, will come out. You need to drag it so it's touching the green ring. And then you can click and hold the middle and drag it around the blue circle until it hits that little marker you can see just there. And then this kind of weird circle dancing thing will appear. And that is just us getting into the orbit of the moon. So you can just place it just around there. As long as there's a purple line there, that's all you need to worry about, really. Okay, so that means that we will need to burn there, and it will bring up a little thing just here, down here. Burn for 1 minute and 9 seconds. And it will be a bit less because we're going to activate this nuclear engines, which are here. So I'm just going to tamper with this a bit. You won't have to do this because I've just got some extra fuel. Okay, I've activated those engines now. So those engines are going to fire at the same time as that engine. You don't have to do that. You can just decouple that by just decoupling that and just getting rid of that. But since I have the extra fuel, I might as well use it, since a whole orange tank of fuel is always good. So what we're going to do now is time warp all the way around to over here. Okie dokie, so we're coming up nicely on this maneuver node here. You don't really have to have the map open for this, but you can if you want. The estimated burn is 1 minute and 9 seconds, so I'm just going to move the ship over the blue marker, which is just there. If you're not pointing out your blue marker, then you might have to kind of find it by just moving around a bit and finding it. Right, so then when you're over the blue marker, I just use the full stop key and then the comma key just to time warp it to close, because time warping stops the physics engine, so your ship will just freeze. So that's kind of like a glitch, which isn't really a glitch because it like works, if that makes sense. Anyway, right, so we're just going to wait until we're about 30 seconds away, because since the burn is going to be around 1 minute, we need to wait until node in T minus 30 seconds. So let's just time warp to 30 seconds. And then we can start the burn. So press and hold the shift key, and you will start to burn. I'm just going to do this slowly, nice and slowly, so it doesn't overheat and stuff. But yeah, so you will want to just stay here really until this just finishes burning. So yeah, so I will be back with you guys when we have finished this burn. Okay guys, well as you can see here, this is coming out fast here. As this goes out, you'll want to press and hold the control key until it just slows down, and then when that reaches around 5 or 0 meters per second, you can just, and as you can see, this is going absolutely manic. Don't worry about that, that's just it being a spazzy thing. Right, so that is that done. As you can see, we're around 1 meters per second of delta V left, because that's called delta V, and that just means the total amount of velocity needed to get into the moon's orbit. So you can just click on this here, and it will bring up a little X, and you just click that, and it'll get rid of the maneuver node. And then press M again, and we are on our way to the moon. So press F5 again, and quick save in case anything goes wrong. I am going to disconnect that stage, because we no longer need this tanker, really. There is a bit of fuel still in that, but you guys have probably used that to get into actual orbit around Kerbin, so just ignore that for now. Bye-bye! So now, this stage here, we're probably going to have more fuel than I thought it would, but it's always best to come over-prepared than under-prepared. It's probably the best thing. So you can time warp. I'd recommend going into the map view to do this, but you can just watch Kerbin drift away slowly. The Kerbin getting smaller and the moon getting bigger. So as we get closer to this point here, the moon, we will be starting to get close to the moon, and when we hit this blue circle here, which says moon encounter, in 1 hour of in-game time, that is when we are going to hit moon's orbit. Now, if you're when you hit this point, stuff will start to happen to your lines, as you can see. Oh, and the game actually crashed because it was so confused about which lines it should be putting. Okay guys, well I'll be back when the game hasn't crashed. Okay guys, I'm back. Sorry about that. KSP just had a special moment just then. Right, so as you can see here, we are going to hit this point just here without the game crashing, and it's gonna change the lines a bit and put us into the moon's sphere of influence. Now, if your blue line is inside the moon, it like goes inside the moon like mine is, then you will need to click on the blue line somewhere, I'd say like around here. If it goes a bit buggy, that's just because Kerbal Space Program is in development and it's just special like that. So you want to click the blue line, add maneuver, and then click this blue one just to the side of it, and then drag it like that until we have an apoapsis of about, I'd say 10 or 20,000 meters will be fine. And then you can, if it's a bit angled like mine is, you can get these pink kind of triangles, and you can drag them up and down to make your orbit a bit flatter. Like so, because flat things are nice, especially if they're called pancakes. Right, so you will want to now find the maneuver node, which will be hidden over here probably. Yeah, there it is. And obviously if your apoapsis is way off, like if it's coming out over here or something, then you'll just want to burn in the opposite direction and just bring it down nicely. And if you want any details on that, I'll let you know. Ask a question in the comments and I'll answer it. I'll answer it probably in the few hours, because I check my YouTube comments 3 or 4 times a day, I reckon. So obviously just burn away and wait until your delta V gets to 0. Boop. There we go. And let's just get rid of this maneuver node. Okay. So that is us coming down nicely into orbit around the moon. We're at 30,000 meters, but that's fine. So I'm just going to time. Actually, I'm going to quick save real quick, just in case we crash into the face of the moon. Now, as you reach the periapsis, which is the low point of the orbit, because as you can see, we're coming down nicely over the moon here. But as you can see, we're going very fast. So we want to find this green circle just on the nav board just here. Point straight at it. And turn SAS on and just burn away. And this will bring down our apoapsis nicely down. Here it comes. There we go. And that will bring down our apoapsis very nicely. Now, if you want to find a designated moon landing site, then you can just give it a few orbits, find a nice place to land, and then bring your orbit down and land at a specific spot. But purely for simplicity, I'm just going to land wherever. So I'm just going to bring this down. It will form a nice circle, and this will apoapsis and periapsis will switch places, like so. And then the periapsis will go in the moon's surface, and this will bring us down nicely onto the moon's surface. So let's just level off here. I've got a bit off course. Right. And we're just going to keep burning until this blue line pretty much goes straight down, which means we're just literally travelling straight down. And also you will want to find somewhere nice and flat to land.